For those of you who are serious about scaling up and growing your video editing agency, then I suggest you take note of the things that I've discovered that are going to really help you position yourself better in the marketplace. And unlike those people who have just clicked off this video, actually give you an unfair advantage when it comes to generating sales and more business. Now, come on, you must have seen this coming. It's of no surprise that AI has enabled the absolute most basic of human beings to edit their own videos. With tools like Canva that are providing people with video clips and text templates that they can literally just drag and drop and do it themselves. I guess like me, you've experienced a lot more people basically saying no or not valuing the amount that you charge. The downside to all of these tools is simply it enables the baseline to move up. So that means beginner video editors, they're producing content that years ago would have been like medium to pro level. And that also means that people who have never even touched a video editing piece of software before can use tools like Canva or CapCut or whatever it is to create actually pretty decent videos. So it begs the question, why would they pay you? Now, I've spoken a lot on this channel about being in the right room of people. It's okay for people to say no and to tell you that, unfortunately, you're just too expensive. You're not what we're looking for and you don't fit what we need. And that's okay. However, you're going to have a lot more of those conversations and a lot more of no's if we don't do something about the ever-changing environment that we're in. Being in business, you have to adapt, and you have to adapt quickly. And in the filmmaking and video editing space, nothing changes quicker than our industry. Overnight, Adobe released a new update that all of a sudden means that it can edit the videos for you. You've got crystal clear podcast quality audio, but you're recording it on a mobile phone. It enables you at a click of a button to press captions and create some Alex Hormozy style captions when you no longer have to pay a video editor to do that for you. Ultimately meaning that it puts the pressure on you to do more and show the value that you can bring just to get a yes to someone buying your services. So here are my 5 tips to keep you ahead of the game and give you an unfair advantage in the space of video editing. So the first thing is to adopt as many AI tools right now as you possibly can. AI tools will enable you to do more with less, and they're going to make a massive difference when it comes to leveling up your work. Like I said about that beginner just starting out that's all of a sudden able to produce medium to pro quality content, you're going to be able to do exactly the same thing. So if you're already a pro and you're producing good content, think about how you can leverage these AI tools. And literally, I would spend a couple of hours a day just searching the web to see what is out there. I still know video editors that say to me that they just don't think AI is going to affect what they're doing, and as a result, they're not actually taking it seriously and adopting how much AI can actually help them level up their own work, which is quite frankly massively surprising. And that's why doing something as simple as finding out what tools there are out there and having that knowledge to make a decision whether or not you're going to use them in your business or not will just ultimately give you a better advantage than those people who just aren't taking it seriously and aren't worried about the future. The next is about following the money. If I was starting a video editing agency from scratch, the first thing I would be doing is going to production companies and freelance videographers, because those people are going to need to offload their work. When they get busy being on shoots all the time, the editing part of the production process is always the bottleneck, because everything flows all the way through from the sale right the way through to the production. Bottlenecks at the editing. The editing's complete, then what happens? You send a draft over, it goes back to the client, it comes back for amendments, it goes back to the clients, it gets finalized. Because it's the last piece of that puzzle and it's the bit that has the most back and forth, it is ultimately the bit that most companies and videographers want to move away from and would rather employ an editor or have someone working as part of their extended team that can actually help them out. My third point is going to be one of those objections that most people that clicked off this video are going to have, which was the fact about, well, some people don't want to use AI and do it themselves, or they don't know how anyway, so they're still going to use you. And I totally agree. There are still going to be people like that. Where you can distance yourself and have an unfair advantage over your competitors is really diving into what are those pain points for the people that you work with. Obviously, in video editing, editing, it might be that you do real estate videos, it might be that you work for production companies, it might be that you work for creators or you do YouTube shorts. No matter what it is, really get into the mind of what your customer is looking for. It's not about what you can offer them, it's about what the customer sees in you. So think about what kind of challenges and pain points are they facing and how can you help solve those challenges with your video editing services. Once you've spent some time working that out, it actually leads really nicely onto my fourth point, and that's consider offering additional services. For example, you might want to think about a strategy plan when it comes to social media content and actually being a part of that bigger picture than just doing the end part of the funnel. If you can be introduced to a client in those early stages of coming up with the strategy, then it gives you way more opportunities to make additional sales along that pipeline. And this is simply done by asking, what are your clients looking for? And if you don't know, then simply ask them. Or if you are brand new to this and you haven't even got a client yet, then just do some market research, which is a fancy way of saying pick up the phone, ring some people in the industries you would like to work in and ask them some questions. Is video editing something that, would help you? Would I be able to take the content that you're producing and do this with it, or whatever that looks like in the area that you work in? Too many people become like a solo brand where they just do that one thing. And there is something to be said for doing one thing really, really well, but actually you cut out so many opportunities, and particularly within a growing business, that's why creative agencies will often do, website, digital, paid social. They'll do all of these things because there's so many more opportunities along that pipeline to ultimately the customer's pain points and the challenges that they're trying to overcome. My final point is to run a workshop. Now, this might sound daunting to some of you, it might sound confusing for some others. Running a workshop, whether it's an online event or whether it's in person, is a fantastic way to make really easy sales. So a strategy that we're using in the business at the moment is actually bringing in local businesses to talk about the AI tools that they can use, because we live in a world where content is king, right? People need to be posting regularly, otherwise they're forgotten about. Actually, for them to generate content quickly, they need to know what they're doing. So by running a workshop to give them some really basic tips and tricks that enables them to level up the quality of their content, so that might be simple things about using their phone to create content for their business, then all of a sudden you can position yourself as the solution to the next problem that they're going to face, which is, I have to edit all of this stuff. And that they need to find someone to do that for them, or they simply either don't have the time or the skill set to be able to do that. So sometimes by giving people the tools and saying, hey, you can use these apps to do these things with, but if you want it to look good, and the reason behind it looking good is, really let's dive into that, right? Why should it look good? Not just because it looks cool, right? Because of a deeper reason. A business wants a video that looks good, is professionally put together, because why? It builds trust. It builds a positioning in the marketplace. They want to be seen as experts. They don't want to be seen as amateurs, right? That's why they're hiring the professionals. So when we start to dive into the reasons why that client wants video in the first place, you can give them some tools, but ultimately you can start to position it as, this is what we do and this is how we can help you. But also you can try some of these things. That's what's going to bring them in. It's sometimes this saying which is called, give them what they want, sell them what they need. Sometimes people just think this is what they want. They just want to create content themselves. So give them that. They're going to find this information anyway, so they might as well come to the expert, learn a little bit, and then they go, actually, you know what? I'm just going to get the expert to do this. It was how much? Oh yeah, that's great value. This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm just going to go to him for those end services. So think about, what does that look like in your business in terms of like having what we would call a lead magnet, which is part of the sales funnel, which basically attracts people into you. It attracts them, it gets them coming to you, it gives you an unfair advantage. You know about the latest AI tools, you now offer strategy sessions or additional services as well. You've teamed up with production companies, so perhaps you can really help educate other people, and in turn that's just going to generate a whole world of work for you, meaning you're not going to be fazed by the future of video editing. Let me know what you thought, your honest thoughts about this video in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think and where you sit in the current position and state of video marketing as we're moving into a world where AI has never been as good as it is. And it does make it a little bit risky for creatives like us. Let us know. Make sure you're subscribed if you enjoyed this video. Until the next one. Peace.